Alrighty guys, welcome to the second installment of how to use the NexCore podcasting studio. So the first time I kind of showed you guys what we got going on in our studio here, some of the different equipment we have. But a lot of the times the technical part of this can look really intimidating, especially when you look at the mixers and the microphones. All of it can look a little scary, a little confusing. So I'm here to show you a little bit about how all this equipment works and how you can just sit down here and get everything rolling in just a few minutes, all right? So if you check it out, we got 4 different microphones positioned all throughout the table here. These are all condenser microphones, so pretty much anywhere you stand around them, it's going to hear you except for right underneath it. Always important to know because for some reason, some people like to point it right at them like this. That doesn't work. You want to make sure it's either facing up or facing down like this to start off. So that's how you're going to get the best sound quality. So if you come and sit down here, you've got 2 different pieces of equipment. We've got our mixer here and our recording computer over here. On our recording computer, we have Audacity set up, and I will get to that in a second and show you guys how to get in there and start recording. But first, you want to make sure everything sounds all right. So I'm going to grab a pair of headphones. I can get these off. I'm going to put them on, start listening to some audio. So I'm going to pull this mic over here just so I can hear it. So if you look real closely down at the mixer, you can see there's 4 different spots here. And you notice there's 4 different microphones. So it's real easy. Each one of these just goes in order around the table. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So going around 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if you look down here, you've got a bunch of different knobs and they can all look really intimidating. But really, you only have to worry about these 4 knobs here and this guy right here. So each one of these controls the individual volume. So as you turn it up and down, you can hear each person sitting in front of that mic a little bit louder, a little bit quieter. This knob over here controls the master volume. So your first thing is you want to get everyone in front of their mics and start talking and kind of set a good starting volume level. So you find a good volume level where it all sounds good. Now you want to make sure that each individual person sounds okay. So sometimes you got people who talk really loudly, or sometimes you got people who talk really quietly. So you can adjust this up and down for each person to make sure that everyone is kind of at that same volume level. Because when you're listening to your podcast back, you want to make sure that people are hearing everyone in the equal level. You don't want someone louder than the next person and so on. So you come through here, each mic, adjust it individually, adjust your main volume. This controls your headphones too. So if you want to hear everyone a little bit louder in your headphones, you can go ahead and turn this up a little bit. And you are set to go. Everyone should be able to hear themselves in the headphones, and the audio should now be heading towards the computer. So now we're going to get to the computer setup and how Audacity works and how we're going to record this. So first thing I want to do is open up my computer and wait for it to turn on. Here. Okay. All right, so now when you're getting ready to get set up on Audacity, we do have a provided computer here, so you can open up and use the programs that we have pre-installed on this computer. But additionally, if you'll notice here, this cord, which comes out of the back of the mixer, is a simple USB device here. So if you have your own software, you're comfortable with it, you've used it to record other stuff, you can actually take this and just plug that directly into your computer and record the high quality audio straight to the program that you maybe are more comfortable with. So a nice advantage to have this, but for a lot of people, they don't have the software, they haven't worked with it before. We have the provided podcast computer, which has Audacity and the other recording programs that you can use to record your podcast. So when you get to the computer, there's 2 different profiles on there. You want to choose NexCore. You're going to click on that icon. It logs in, no password needed. And now you're sitting on an empty desktop like this. So first thing you're going to do when you open up the computer is you're going to take the USB device and just plug it in. Sounds like a no-brainer, but it is important to note that you want to plug in the USB before you open up Audacity. If you do it after, Audacity gets confused, doesn't work as well. All right, and then we come down here and open up Audacity. Alrighty, now that we've got our Audacity open, we're going to take a look at the program here. So first, when you open up the program, you're going to see a couple of things. You've kind of got some bars up top here. This right here is showing you what the microphone, where its input is. So essentially, where is it pulling the volume from, or the audio. Then you have the speakers, where is it playing out by. So you don't really need to worry about this section over here. This one is important though. Assuming you did what I said before and you plugged in the USB before opening Audacity, you can click this drop down arrow and typically you will see the third setting here will say USB codec. In this case, because we're on a different computer currently, it does not show that. But when you are in the podcast studio or using your own device but plugged into our mixer, you will see USB codec as this drop-down device here, typically the third one down. So you want to make sure that you select that. And then from there, you're going to take a look. You've got a couple different places you can go from there. Up top here, we've got our monitoring section. So if you, by clicking right up here where it says click to start monitoring, you can now hear the volume level, or at least see the volume level of your mics and everything that is going into the computer. So you may sound really loud in your headset, but coming into the computer, it might be really quiet. If you're really loud here and you see you're hitting these red points, these red and orange points, that means you are peaking the microphones. And that essentially means that you're so loud the microphones can't handle the volume anymore, or the headsets or the speakers can't handle it, and you'll get this really weird clip sound on the microphone, which is never good. So if you're getting it really loud here, what you can do is come over to the right side here next to the little microphone icon, and you can actually pull this fader down a little bit. And now if you notice, I'm not going up as far. It's more of a nice even volume level, so you're not going too high, you're not going too low either. So now that you're sitting in a nice range here, we're going to get ready to record. First thing I like to tell people to do is to come up here and do File and Save Project and Save Project As. And if you notice this warning here, it says Save Project is for an Audacity project, not for an audio file. Essentially what that is telling you is that, like a Word document, you're saving it as the computer or the program's like natural format and not as a usable format outside of it. So this is like allows you to go back and edit it in Audacity, but you can't just send this to your phone or send it to your computer and listen to it. You still have to go through another process to make that happen. But what's important is by saving this here, you now have a file just in case something happens. You can always come back to this file on your desktop. Even if you're in the middle of recording, it'll still have a file name to at least save it to. You'll notice it's giving me a warning for an empty project. Don't worry about that. We want to save it. That way it has a name to write all these files to, just in case something happens. So now we're all set and we're ready to record. We're going to come up here to the big, you guessed it, record button, and we're going to go ahead and click record. And now we are recording. So as you can see on my timeline here, we have these little like blue, looks like bars. It's hard to tell what they are, but the technical name for them are waveforms. So this is telling you how loud your volume is. So this right here is actually pretty quiet. When you listen back to this, it's going to be very quiet and harder to hear. So what I'm going to do is actually pull my microphone volume up just a touch there. And now you notice my waveforms are getting a little bit louder. Do you see that? How they got a little bit louder? I'm going to pull them up even more. So I want to get somewhere in this nice middle range. Yep, like this. Now, if you notice, if I crank this all the way up and I'm talking really loudly, see how those start to hit the outside of the bars here? Well, that's what you don't want, because that means you're clipping the edges and you're peaking the microphone again. So it's same along with those red bars up top. If you get too loud, your microphones and your speakers can't handle it. So you want to keep it in a nice middle range, somewhere around here. This looks good. That looks really pretty right there. So that's where you want to be generally. Now there's things you can do afterwards. You can raise the volume, lower it. So if you're too loud, we can fix that afterwards. That's not a problem. Don't fear. But it's good to always have it set, as best you can, right? When you start recording. Now, when you're finished recording and you're ready to end, you're going to come up here to the stop button and you're going to go ahead and click stop. So now your recording has stopped, and now you can go back, and if you're ready to export this so you have a workable MP3 file you can go back and listen to, you can come up here and click File. We're going to choose Export, and you can choose to export as an MP3, export as a WAV file. I'm going to choose WAV today because we're on a PC, not that it really matters. I'm going to click Save. And now it's going to prompt me, if any of you ever used to burn CDs on iTunes, you'd recognize this. And there you go. Now you have a workable file that's sitting on your desktop, and you can take that, listen to it, and you can always come back now because you also have that Audacity file that we saved first. You can always come back to that file and edit and then export as another MP3 or WAV file. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this. If you guys want to learn more, if you think you'd love to learn more about how to edit, how to use this equipment, or you're just not sure if this covered it all, feel free to come by and check out our Intro to Podcasting Part 3 seminar hosted March 19th at 6 p.m. at NexCore. We'll be covering all of this technical stuff, and we'll make sure you guys know the ins and outs, how to record, where to post, and everything in between. So look forward to seeing you guys there. Take care.